Rich here, recording another unboxing. Got some new equipment to try out, using my phone camera to record it, see how it works out. Black Forest by Uwe Rosenberg and Tito Lorenz, published by Capstone Games in the US and Furland in the rest of the world apparently. So, I love Uwe's games. Been a big fan since Agricola and like Glass Road, Fjord, and this is supposedly Glass Road on steroids and a more advanced version. So here we go, opening it up. There's what we got here, we got so the small buildings go on this, and I guess they sort in some way showing the resources that are used. They also, many of them require glass as well. And on the back, it's just a decoration. This is the large buildings that are available to build during the game, and it's slightly different. For 4 players, there's an extra building out. For 1 to 3 players, there's only 4 large buildings available, levels 1, 2, and 3, and there's a second, third level one. So there's probably sorting those. More of the small building ones. And on the back of this one, at the end of the game, you score up people's points going back and forth till you get there. The main board, yes, this has a board, not just player boards and the cards. So this is going to take over your table. Consists of a set of villages and some other locations that you can go to. Your single piece travels around. This side of the board is suitable for solitaire play. There's a solitaire marker there. And the other side of the board here is for the, here we go, the 2, 3, and 4 player versions. Up here it shows what the second, third, and fourth players start with. The first player has an advantage in picking spots. So the way it's going to work is you'll be in a space between 2 tokens, and when it's your turn, you have to move each turn except the first turn where you place, and there are costs to move to another village, costs if somebody else is in the village, but basically you end up on a spot and you can take one or both of the actions available in the spots in the order of your choice. And that's how most things are done. I guess this just shows that you pay a provision to move down the road. And there are some other locations where things happen that are not villages. Okay, so there's going to be a lot of markers. So there's stickers to go on them. Provisions, charcoal. There's a traveling merchant thing. Glass, sand. The traveling merchant thing is actually on the player's wheels. We'll get to that. Porridge, not gruel, sorry. Brick, wood, something else. Water, and oh yeah, glass. Here's the instructions, and we'll stop and go through that. So the maps, the buildings, the markers. There's going to be wheels. You have to put them together. You can see them here, the parts for that. Much like in Glass Road, there are forests, landscape tiles, small but also large buildings. That's different. There are also jobs. The tradespeople on the map are sort of randomly handed out. And, oh, you can have pigs and cattle. The cuckoo clock is for the solo game, player aid. In these games, you actually are going to have, and you can see it better over here, there's actually going to be 2 wheels that turn, okay, and you'll have your estate for the player, and glass huts, they start out there. You can expand your territory as you burn through the woods, and you might have to move your glass production to other territories, right? A glass hut progress token that moves up and down in that. Jobs resource reminders. You have a player has a pawn and then a player color tile in case you forget which pawn's yours. Everybody has markers for their different resources. There's going to be two provision and two charcoal markers, but the others, porridge, meat, glass, commodity, wood, sand, water, and brick, are one each, going on separate things. And it's a little confusing because you have two wheels. This wheel is going to be for making glass, and it can go around and around. This wheel is for making basically food. It's only going to go around once. When any player gets this to come all the way around again, that triggers the end of the game. Okay, and you can imagine how that happens. So you set up, put out the buildings, put out the tradespeople, put out the jobs that are available. Okay, a pool of estates, fields, ponds, pastures, forests, and pigs and cattle. All right. You set up the individual player things, slightly different depending on the number of players, and there's a solo version. Okay. Generally, you're going to have a production tableau, and if you've played Glass Roads, you know how this works. There's going to be a wheel, and if both the the space in front of the production wheel and the space in front of the divider are empty, it turns one. Okay, anytime that those two things are empty, it's going to turn one. And the result, of course, is that now instead of having, say, two of these, you have three of these, but now you lose one of each of the things that are over here. That's how production works, both to make glass and to make provisions, and you need provisions to move around. Um, when you get rewards, you have to take them. You can't just take part of them. You have to take as much as you can. Okay. Um, if you can't take them, or if you take more than you can store, you lose them. All right. So you have your initial estate and domain, and then you add estates to it as you cycle through your glass production capabilities. Um, also, there's a set of jobs. As soon as your cooking wheel produces for the second time, um, your dial is going to move to the jobs resource reminder. You immediately reveal a job from the pile. You get one basic resource of your choice, and you now have this job you can do. Okay. Um, they could be location jobs, tradesperson jobs. They're just things that you can do. In a gameplay, in a standard turn, you can spend a commodity to swap the traveling merchant trades pure people with a different tradesperson. Okay, the uh, the meaning of that's going to be something on the board that you could basically rearrange the way the board is in some ways. Take a move to the next location and then take the action or actions that come with that location. But to move, you have to spend a commodity to move each road space. And if you move into a space, a village with other players, you'll have to give them a basic commodity, which you pay. Okay. It's slightly different in a two-player game. Moving is explained, but basically you move around and you pay. If you move inside a village to just another spot, that's free. But you always have to move. You can't stay in the same place. If you move to a location job, it's just like moving to a village, but you pay the travel cost, and you can only move to a location job. Those are the individual spaces here, I believe. Right? And here, you can only move to those if you can take the action. Um, action. So you perform an action, whether you're in a village or a location, choose one of the options, visit one or two adjacent tradespeople, or complete a job if available. So you don't have to do both tradespeople. You can do them in the order of your choice. You have to finish each individual tradespeople visit before you start the next. During the course of the game, you might develop some exchange actions because, like in Glass Roads, you have chains of turning resources into other resources, into other things, into hopefully victory points at some point. You can't do those in the middle of a tradespeople action, but you can do them before, after all of them, and between doing two of them if you're going to do two. You complete a job, you just do the thing, and that's what happens. Okay, begging. So you don't have to feed your people, but you might find that you can't do anything useful with a move because you don't have the commodities to make the move, the provisions to make the move. So you can beg. To beg, you just put your pawn in the center of a village and take one provision, and that ends your turn. That's it. And then on your next turn, you'll have a provision so you can move out to do something useful. Um, you can't forfeit parts of rewards. You have to take them if you can. Um, More about Glass Hut progress and expanding your domain. You're going to have to move up the track on your glass hut. When you get to the top, you get a new piece of terrain. You move your glass hut to the new terrain, which will have some new forests you can clear, and reset your glass hut progress to the beginning. When you construct buildings, they come off the building thing, you pay, they go into any empty space. Most buildings either do something right away, give you an exchange capability, or are worth points under certain conditions at the end of the game. Most buildings are also worth some points at the end of the game just because you built them. That's indicated there. The buildings have a cost, in this case a glass, 3 brick. This would be a thing you do once per empty space in your domain, get a water. Okay. Some buildings have a condition that you have to fulfill to construct it. And they have a wooden background and like a little symbol like this. Conversions are blue. They have a little gold arrow that shows the conversion thing. Okay. And you can do conversions anytime you qualify, as many times as you qualify. So they're a continuing thing. Instance with a one-time reward here. Permanence, which might have ability, like whenever you gain something. In this case, I think it's a yes. When you extend your domain, you also get 3 sand and things that just give you points at the end of the game, depending on the conditions you met. In this game, you can get livestock. You can build pastures that can either hold 3 pigs or 3 cattle, not a mix. You have a stable. You can have 2 cattle, and any forest can hold 1 pig but no cattle. You can move your livestock around when you need to. Sometimes you'll exchange them. You don't feed your people per se, but there are a lot of conversion things. And only animals in pastures at the end of the game give you points. So it's kind of tricky. So anytime actions, you can always use a conversion ability, and you can remove a field, pond, or pasture anytime you need a space. Although that's not a good thing because those often give you capabilities you'd like to have. The game ends when one player gets their marker here, and then everybody, including that player, gets one more turn. This is called the cooking wheel. Okay? And at the end of the game, you get a point per glass that you have. The outside of the cooking wheel has points showing what you get where you end up. Each small estate you add is 2 points. It's shown right there. Livestock in pastures get points. Buildings have points printed on them. And the buildings might have building effect points. Let's see this one here. Is it that one? No, it's not that one. It's this one, the yellow, right? Get a point per something. I think in this case it's the blue things you have. Anyway, and then you add up all the points. Highest score wins. Tie goes to the person who either ended the game or had the next turn at the game end. I think that's clear enough. There's a 2-player game. It's slightly different. You move around one marker. You're always blocking off one village space during the game. Jobs come out a little differently. There's a solo version where you just rack up points. And the rest of the rule book is dedicated to explaining how the jobs work, how the small buildings work, how the large buildings work, and on the back, how the tradespeople work. That's it, but it's more than enough. It'll probably explode your brain the first few times you play it. Components are a lot of them. Cardboard, pretty thick. The extra animal markers, forests, people's glass works, the pieces that you need to put together to make your wheels. This is your indicator that when you pass it on your cooking track, you'll pick up a job, a random job. So you get that. Here's your starting domain. It has room for cattle if you need them. Your glassworks goes here. You'll get room for the cattle if you move it. But remember, it doesn't. These don't count for points at the end. Okay. This is when you add these on. They'll be worth 2 points. Your glassworks will go on the first one, and you might have more. These are forests. At the beginning of the game, you're going to have. They cover 2 spaces. 1, 2, 3 forests. 2 of these fields. 2 ponds. Okay. And you might get some other stuff. Here's oops, oh, that came right out. Well, okay. Here's how one of the jobs, you go to the job and basically you pay the red thing. In this case, let's see, bring this up closer. 5 sand, you get 5 porridge, 2 glass, and move 3 on your glass worker. So that's pretty good if you can get the resources to go to that job. Okay, and so those are the permanent ones. I think they have, okay, I don't know, maybe those are the random ones, and there's plenty of these for everybody to expand their domains. Then the small buildings, and you can see they have a resource cost, often includes glass, but not always. Value at the end of the game for points, and in this case, these are conversion ones: 2 water to 3 brick, whenever you want to. Okay. Potash manufacturer. Remove the carbon marker from your glassmaking wheel. Oh, so you never need charcoal to make glass again. A very interesting number of things going on here. These are the large buildings. They take up 2 spots. You can have more fields, lots more fields, right? These are your pastures, okay? And there you can 1 per animal, 3 pigs or 3 cattle, but not both. Okay, then here we have the village markers. It shows the typical action. So if you go to this village action, a charcoal for bricks, and if it's next to this, then you can also build a building, or build a building and not do that. Okay, so these will go out on the board. These are the markers to remind you what color you're actually playing, right? More large buildings, more fields, pastures, even more large buildings, and then we're near the end. All right. So the components: each player is going to get a glass bead to track their glass production. These are to put together the wheels. There's a little plastic snap-in things. A bunch of bags to sort everything out, and there's a lot to sort. Let's see if I can do this without causing too much damage. The wheels will go here, and you can see when I bring it up close at this start, it goes here. You're going to have like 0 glass, and you're going to have these starting materials. Then over here, you're going to have, I think you're going to end up with what? 1 provision. That's going to be, no, several, maybe 3. So the way the provisions work is there's 2 markers. The rule is when you take things, you can have to take them all with 1. Like the only thing where it really matters is charcoal is on these 2 things. When you get charcoal, it has to go into only one of them, and you lose it if there's not room. But when you spend charcoal, you can take it from either or both. Okay. Provisions, I guess, work the same way. This is the, oh, I was wrong. This triggers the end of the game. I thought it was further along, like all the way to the end, but no, it's here. Once somebody passes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here, that triggers the end of the game, and everybody gets 1 more turn. I don't know how you get to 11, but maybe you can. Okay, and then over here, you track your completed bricks here and spend them from here. Glass is tracked on here, and there's a limit. You'll only be able to have 3 glass, but you can have up to 7 brick, and you track those separately over there. So it's a little more complicated than Glass Road. Let's pull out the wooden components to take a look at. So, pigs, the player pieces, they're different colors and different shapes. I guess that's a good thing for people with color problems. The little cuckoo clock, for just for the solo game to track, it's a fixed number of turns in the solo game. Cattle, I'm sure somebody will have stickers with the points, and the indicators for the value of your different items, basic items and glass. So that's the game. I think that's a pretty good overview, especially if you've played Glass Road. You'll understand that pretty clearly. Not going to be a ton of rounds, but it's probably going to take a little while because remember, you're going to keep spending your provisions to move around the board. There's no chance that you can just sit in one village and finish the whole game. At least I don't think so. All right, well, that's Black Forest. I'm really looking forward to putting it on the table. I like games like this a lot. I like Glass Road, and I think this is Glass Road and a lot more. So thanks for watching, and hopefully you'll see me do another unboxing soon. Bye for now.